Hey, gang. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done an update. I was going to start the look at Creature Commandos last week, but I'd been fighting a really bad cold, and there were a lot of days I did not have almost any voice. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's still a little rough. But we are looking at episode 1 of the Creature Commandos. I was a big fan of these back in high school. It was a recurring feature in Weird War Tales. I always had a liking for those kind of things in horror magazines, like I Vampire in House of Mystery and Johnny Peril in Tales of the Unexpected were a couple others I really liked. Anyways, this, of course, is the original Creature Commandos, which was a World War II based story in which you had a werewolf, a vampire, and a Frankensteinian monster fighting for the Allies, and were later joined by a Medusa. Although she couldn't turn people to stone, she did have the snake hair. But this iteration of the Creature Commandos is the more modern take that's in the comics nowadays. So you've got the Bride, aka Bride of Frankenstein. You've got Dr. Phosphorus, who is not quite sure what he is. He is a walking skeleton with phosphoric powers. Basically, he can burn things. There's also the Weasel, you remember from the Suicide Squad. And Nina, I'm not going to even try to pronounce her last name, who is an amphibian style woman. And last but not least, we have G.I. Robot, a robot from World War II who was created to fight Nazis. And since his time in the war, he's had trouble adjusting because he was programmed to fight Nazis. He had no other programming in him, so no other directives. Anyway, we open with the evil sorceress Circe, who, of course, is from Themyscira, the island of the Amazons, where Wonder Woman came from, and she is leading an army of what should we call them? They're all guys, and part of their desire is to be able to colonize Themyscira, because it's not fair that women have this all to themselves. So they might be what you call incels, maybe. We'll table that for another time, maybe, or maybe not. Anyways, they are attacking the country of Pokostan, which is a very important ally of the United States because it is chock full of oil. So Amanda Waller, who has had to disband the Suicide Squad, this does tie back into the second Suicide Squad movie. And Weasel was in that. He's in this now. But other than that, it's now illegal to create a team of metahumans, or in fact any humans, for these kind of missions. Luckily, the characters I've just mentioned aren't human. They're walking corpses and animal people hybrids and things, so none of them are classified as human. And she gets is it Rick Flag? Yes, Rick Flag. I keep wanting to say Randall Flag, but that's a different character. Rick Flag Sr., because remember, Rick Flag Jr. was killed by Peacemaker back in the Suicide Squad movie. Anyways, he's going to lead this new team, and they are sent to protect the Princess Alana. And turns out the Bride seems to know this country, almost as if she'd been there before. Anyways, they arrive at the palace, and after a pretty funny joke, prank, played by the captain of the guards, all their references are rather old American references from like the 90s. Rick is attracted to Alana. She's a very young, pretty blonde. But he is old enough to be her father, if not older, and it would be unprofessional to act on such a thing. They attend a banquet where they meet the queen, who is this ancient, barely alive woman. I mean, think like the grandparents in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's about what they look like. The original. And Flag tells her about his son's death, and she later tries to seduce him.
Sex.
Nope. He's got too much of a strong will for that. He doesn't reject it, but he politely declines. Meanwhile, the bride sneaks out of the palace, but she's seen by Nina, who puts on her water helmet so she can breathe outside of walking around, and follows her, and they get into a taxi where the bride just happens to know the language of this country and gives him a specific address. Well, meanwhile, all of the commandos are planted with a chip in their head somewhere that causes them excruciating pain if they disobey, try to escape, the usual things. It won't kill them. Not sure such a thing would kill them, but it could cause them excruciating pain. So Phosphorus sneaks into Flag's room to steal the trigger, which of course leads to a humongous fight that sets the room on fire, Phosphorus. At which point they fall into the kitchen area, continue the fight before Flag eventually defeats him, and then explains the uselessness of getting the device. Even if he destroyed it, there's another one. There's more than one. Waller has one. If she finds out, she'll punish them all. Why is he being so stupid? They're supposed to be a team. Excuse me. Anyways, the bride and Nina arrive at a castle. And as she goes in, Nina asks her, "What's so important about this place?" And the bride cryptically replies, "I was born here." Meanwhile, a woman who lives outside the castle picks up a phone and calls someone on a yacht to tell them of the visitors he's having. And this is revealed to be the Frankenstein monster, who is happy because now his bride has returned. Whoa, pretty good ending. Okay opening. Not a lot of action. This is more setup for everything that's going to happen. But a nice introduction to the group. You get a little bit of snippet of them all from their past. Not a lot, but just enough to show their abilities. And the fight between Flag and Phosphorus is hilarious because he can't really touch him because he'll burn. So he's having to find other objects to fight him with. And Adam Tudyk voices Dr. Phosphorus. Oh, that is such a great casting. I love Adam Tudyk. And David Harbour plays the Frankenstein monster. Again, another great bit of casting. I am not as familiar with the rest of the cast, but excuse me. But it really looks fun. And I am looking forward to the rest of the series. It's a good starting off point. So please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.